Well, just Lurdo in pocket today. Yub Nub's getting ready for his holiday special. Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Okay, so let's get back to the books. More specifically, the young adult books. The Boba Fett young adult books, written by Elizabeth Hand. The final two books in this series. Book number 5 was called Boba Fett, A New Threat. And in this, Boba gets hired by Jabba to take out Wat Tambor. Now, this one was a fine story, just like the other ones. I'll talk a little bit about both of these together. The only thing about this one is Anakin is referred to as a Padawan still, and by this time it's obvious he's a Jedi Knight. Now, you could say that this story takes place way later, and you could say that. In fact, you could even put it after Jedi Trial, because I think Jedi Trial is mentioned in it, I think. But it can be placed as far back as that. But, you know, you could, but I would place it here. Because in the chronology of the regular Boba Fett series, this takes place way later. So this is where I would put it. Yes, you can put it after Jedi Trial, but I'm going to put it here. Now, the second book, let me just go ahead and get to that one. It's called Boba Fett Pursuit. Now, in this one, Fett goes after Mace Windu on Coruscant, the man that murdered his father. It's time for revenge. Fett style, baby. Yeah! All right, so what I think about this book, I thought was fun. And I am very embarrassed to say that I had no idea this book existed until 2012. Let me explain. I got this book for Christmas 2012. And I was super happy that my mom got it for me. It was one of the only things on my list. I really wanted it. And so Christmas morning, we open up our presents. I get this. I'm celebrating and I'm flipping through the book and I'm reading through it. Everyone's having fun at Christmas time, playing with their toys or watching movies. And I'm flipping through this, reading it and just gobbling it up, going, wow, this is great stuff. And then I finally get to the Boba Fett book, book number 6, Pursuit. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I went, wait a minute. I don't think I've read this one. I went, how's that? No, that can't be. And so I went home, I checked my bookshelf, I was like, where is it? I don't have it. How did I go that long without knowing that they made a 6th Boba Fett book? I have no idea. Now, I have some theories. I obviously must have been busy when this book came out because I constantly checked online or at the bookstore for new books. Young adult books, didn't get as much fanfare as the adult books did. But still, I was always at the bookstore looking to see, in the young adult book section, did anything new come out? And I guess I just totally missed this. When I read that it existed, I was like, no way. I bought it for like a penny used online, so I had to pay more for shipping than I did for the daggone book. And I had to reread the Boba Fett series to make sure I wasn't going to miss anything. Now, book number 5 didn't end in a cliffhanger. It wasn't a to be continued thing. In fact, there was no mention that there would be a 6th book. So I thought, it stopped at 5, and I just moved on. So the fact they made a 6th book, I was like, shut up. And I was really hoping this book could show me other things I didn't know. And I mean, besides some behind the scenes stuff, that was the really only big EU fiction out there that I didn't know it existed. An entire young adult book. What? Can't believe I forgot it. So about Pursuit though, there is one glaring mistake in it. She says that Fett is going to Coruscant for the first time in book number 6. But if you remember book number 1 by Terry Bisson, you'll know that that is not true. Boba Fett went to Coruscant in that book. And you want to go, yikes, Elizabeth Hand, you did not do your homework. Now you could blame the editor, you could blame Leland Chee, but to be honest, this is a mistake that never should have happened. I understand if an author can get something wrong because what they said contradicted something from the comic books or a short story in a magazine or, whatever, and that's actually never really happened, but it could have happened, and so I could understand that and forgive that. But in your own series, you didn't even see it coming? What? Elizabeth Hand, I guess she didn't read book 1, or she did maybe a long time ago and totally forgot what she was saying was contradicting something from the entire series. That's a bonehead mistake. You really don't want to make that. She should be constantly checking that first book to make sure when she makes a claim like that, saying the word never, that you want to go back to that first book and find out. Now you could say, well, Matt, the editor or Leland Chee should have caught that. Yeah, I agree. Someone should have caught it, because I guarantee you kids and adults, because adults read the young adult books too, when they read it, they knew, because I had read it and I knew. I was like, wait a minute, he was on Coruscant earlier, wasn't he? I had to go back and check and make sure, but he was. So mistakes were made, but it wasn't that big a deal. What do I think overall? I think Elizabeth Hand's books are good. They're not great. They're not Jude Watson caliber stories. Should you read them? Again, like I've said before, if you really like Boba Fett, yeah, I guess if you want to know about, this is Boba Fett as a kid. Nothing that they do in this series impacts any future story about Boba Fett because they were already written. And as Boba Fett stories go, there's not much. I'm not saying these are bad. I feel like I'm dumping on these a little too much now. They just were okay. They weren't super awesome like you thought Boba Fett would be, because it's not the awesome Boba Fett, it's the young kid Boba Fett. But I think Jude Watson could have written it and made it better. So overall, it's up to you on whether you want to get the series or not. Does it impact the Clone Wars or the rest of the EU that much? No, it's really some self-contained line of stories that you can take or leave. But I think they're okay. All right, folks, that's all the time I have for now. I'll see you next time.